Hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the little delay. I had a computer problem this morning. Called pressing the button on the light switch, and it went dark on me. I couldn't see it. But anyways, I'm coming from you from beautiful Beach Lake, Pennsylvania this morning. I was gifted this morning when I walked down by the lake. I was trying to find a nice place by the lake to do this, but the ground is absolutely saturated with water. But a big, beautiful bald eagle is sitting right on the edge of the lake. So what a way to greet in the morning. I was very appreciative of that. So this morning I want to start talking about coping mechanisms, which is in chapter 4 of my book. We'll start out by the quote that starts that chapter. It says, "One day I looked at something in myself that I had been avoiding because it was too painful. Yet once I did, I had an unexpected surprise. Rather than self-hatred, I was flooded with compassion for myself because I realized the pain necessary to develop that coping mechanism to begin." I'm going to re-say that. I was flooded with compassion for myself because I realized the pain necessary to develop that coping mechanism to begin with. And that's from Marianne Williamson. So we develop these coping mechanisms throughout our life, and they're mostly developed out of our pain. They can be positive or they can be maladaptive coping mechanisms. So this next month, I'm going to be talking about the coping mechanisms. I'm just going to go over a few things, what they look like today. The next week, I'll talk about maladaptive coping mechanisms, and then the third week, I'll talk about developing new coping mechanisms. But I quoted on Facebook this morning. And first, I want to say this. I was told that I've been doing some research on live feeds, and one of the things that I was told is that between the 7 a.m. at the 7 a.m. morning hour in the morning or at the 8 p.m. hour in the evening are the two times that people are most likely to be on their phone. So that's why I'm doing it at 7 a.m. this morning. It's 10 a.m. here, or actually it's 10:20 now here in Pennsylvania. So I'm just gonna play with this and see how it all works. Next week I'll probably do 8 p.m. at home. So, anyways, I wrote, we use dozens of coping mechanisms every day, consciously and subconsciously, to minimize stress and to solve our personal and interpersonal problems. Coping skills can be maladaptive or constructive, ranging from abusing alcohol, drugs, or sex to meditating, praying, or playing musical instruments. And that's on page 77 on my book called Healing the Man Within. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Mary Lou. Glad you're here. So, coping skills fall into three main categories. I'm going to share one of those with you this morning, okay? And that one is that they can be emotion focused, which attempt to mitigate the stress by minimizing, reducing, avoiding, or preventing the unwanted emotional response. We attempt to mitigate the stress by minimizing, reducing, avoiding, or preventing the unwanted emotional response. So, that could be in a form of denial. It's not that bad. It's no big deal. We just blow it off. That's probably the biggest way that we would do that. Because what we're trying to do is minimize the stress that the stressor is putting on us. Somebody comes after us and attacks us, and it's like, it's no big deal. They just who they are. Well, the reality is, when somebody else attacks us, it's usually not about us. It's about them. But we were never taught that. Or I should say, many of us were never taught that growing up. So we try to avoid it by a lot of times by denial. Coping mechanisms can also be categorized by the result they bring. And there's a list of these on page 78 of my book. And again, I'm just going to talk about a few of them. One of those is an attack mechanism. You transfer pain onto another person or object. I think that a lot of us are guilty of doing this. And, think about the guy driving to work in the morning that you're just minding your business. You're doing the traffic. You're doing the speed limit. Everything's fine. And all of a sudden, this guy comes blazing by you and cuts you off and flips you the bird. He's screaming and yelling at you. And it's like, my God, what's wrong with that man? What happened to that guy before he left his house in the morning? Him and his wife have a big fight. Did his son just get thrown in jail? Did he just get bad news from a doctor? Did he just lose a loved one? You know, we don't know what other people go through, okay? And so a lot of times I know for myself, when I would be hurt, the way I would cope with it is I would attack people. My pain would be spewed onto them. So we just got to become aware of these, you know, in our life, and not only what we're doing to others, but when other people are attacking us. I always talk about we got to learn not to take it personal. We got to learn to take things not personal. A lot of times the attacks aren't about us; they're about what's going on in that other person's life. So the attack mechanism is probably one of the biggest ones that people use pretty much on a daily basis, on the road, in the workplace, with our loved ones. You know, so there's a lot that we got to look at. A coping skill is anything that gets you through the day. So we learn these coping skills, and we start at a very young age. And for most of us or not for all of us that were abused, or any of us that were abused, sometimes those coping mechanisms aren't always the best. We withdraw, we disassociate, we learn to attack people, to throw our pain onto other people. Morning, Frank. Morning, Val. Morning, Eddie. We learn to, I lost my train of thought. I hate when I do that. We learn to dissociate. We learn to, throw our pain onto other people. There's a lot of different ways we do it. If we grew up in a dysfunctional home, those are the things we know. But there's other ways to cope, and that's to be able to meditate and go for a mindful walk. And there's a lot of different things we can do that are healthy that we need to learn how to do. And I'll talk about those more later in the book. Some coping skills naturally are healthier than others, but they keep you alive. They're working. So, I always tell people, well, for 38 years, I lived a certain way, and all my coping mechanisms and all my behaviors kept me alive, and they got me to where I'm at today in life. But when they quit working, they quit working, and some of them didn't necessarily quit working, but they weren't the best. So I had to learn how to adapt new coping behaviors and how to develop new ones. And the goal along, in life is to learn healthier coping skills as our recovery progresses. And that's not necessarily recovery from drugs and alcohol. We need to get rid of the stigma that recovery means drug and alcohol, because it doesn't. There's a lot of things that we're recovering from in life. Life's full of hurts, hang-ups, and habits. And that's what recovery is. Are you recovering from the loss of a loved one, somebody that died? Are you recovering from the tragic divorce, or are you recovering from a career? There's a lot of things that we can recover from. So we need to get rid of the stigma that recovery means drugs and alcohol, because it doesn't. It's important not to discount the skills that have brought you to your present state of mind. We can't discount how we got here. We can't discount the knowledge that we have. Oftentimes, when I'm working with people and they're not moving forward, I'll say, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to ask you to forget everything that you have learned in your past for a short period of time. Be open-minded and willing to learn new ways of learning, to learn new ways of coping, behaving. Just be open-minded enough that maybe there's a better way you can be doing things in life. Learn a new perspective. See it from somebody else's eyes. That's what I had to do. I mean, I was great at, man, that's for you, it's not for me. In recovery, it's being open-minded and willing. Here's some of the skills that we might have developed along our way. One, the attack mode, which I already talked about, an offensive attempt to defeat a threat. So somebody comes after us. They say something very constructive to us. They're not attacking us. They're just might even be trying to better us. But we take it personally because all of our life, maybe we've been attacked. And so when somebody, like my pastor says, challenges our process, then we take it as an attack and we attack the attacker. Okay? Then there's also avoidance and the act of mentally or physically staying away from something that causes distress. Well, I'm done with this guy. We don't even give that person a chance to sit down and talk with them and tell them how we feel and what's going on. We just cut them off out of our life and we walk away from it. We avoid the person, the place, or the thing. And denial is a big one. We refuse to acknowledge that an event has occurred. When it comes to abuse, it, that's the number one killer of people is denial. And and here's the biggest um, obstacle that we need to overcome is that a lot of people will say, well, my mom and my dad, they did the best they could. They put a roof over my head. They put food on my table. Okay, right. I agree. That's great. But were they there for you emotionally? Did they take you to the ball games? Did they help you with your homework? Did they sit down and listen to what you were going through in life? I don't want nobody to hate their mom and their father. That is not the intent of this. But so many men and women are carrying around resentment and anger and unforgiveness towards their parents, but they won't say it because they don't think they should. That's denial. Say it. It's all right. Because once we get through that barrier, then the healing can begin. We can heal you and we can heal the relationship with your parents. It's real simple. It's not a big deal. You're mad, you're mad. That's all right. Say it. Get over it. Sorry, don't get over it. I hate that term. But anyways, we got to come out of our denial about whatever, a lot of different things, about our part and stuff. Well, she wouldn't have done this and I wouldn't have done that. No, what's your part in it? I didn't have a part in it. She started it. What's your part in it? Come out of denial. Escapism is another one. The act of using fantasy or entertainment to forget about unpleasant realities. So you escape into, maybe you're a comedian or a musician, workaholic. You just escape into something other than the reality of life. A lot of people do that. Look at my abuse drove me to success. I escaped into my surfing as a kid. I escaped into my bike riding before I got recovery. I escaped into my work. I escaped into my hunting, my fishing. I escaped into all that to get rid of the unpleasant realities of my life. But the problem is, they never went away. They were always there, always there. I escaped into drugs and alcohol. And self-harm is another big one. A lot of cutters, and I've talked to them, people cut because they'd rather feel the physical pain than the emotional pain that they feel inside of them. It's tragedy. The emotional pain is devastating. So they'd rather take that cutting and if they can feel that physical pain as they're cutting themselves. It's easier to cope with than the mental pain that they deal with on a daily basis. Now, there's a complete list of these coping skills. It's like 3 pages worth on page 79 through 81 of my book, Healing the Man Within. And next Monday, I'm going to discuss some of the maladaptive coping mechanisms we might have developed over life. But for this week, remember the 3 A's. Awareness. Become aware that maybe some of your coping mechanisms you need to look at and change. Maybe the ones that have got you to where you're at today, they work, but maybe they're pushing people away from you in your life. And once you become aware of those, they're not all bad. They're not all bad. I'm not saying they are, but become aware that you might have some bad ones. Then you come to a place of acceptance. Accept the fact that, okay, I need to change. I need to make a change in the way I deal with certain things in my life. I need to look at things. I need to come out of denial. I need to quit avoiding things. And I need to quit attacking other people. It's just acceptance. Just get to that point of acceptance. And then the last one, of course, take the action to change those things that you need to change. Those are the 3 keys to full recovery right there. Awareness, acceptance, and action. Remember, you get my book at, you get it either at Destiny Church in Indio in the bookstore. You get it at Barnes & Noble in the Palm Desert Town Center, Westfield Town Center Mall. Betty Ford Center and Rancho Mirage has got it, or you can also get it on Amazon. My workbook is also available on Amazon as well, 7-Day Challenge to Healing the Man Within. A couple updates to Right Across America. As I mentioned earlier, I'm in Pennsylvania as I speak right now with Eddie, my buddy. We've been going around making lots of connections here. This place is it's beautiful, it's cold. The people are extremely friendly. I've met some wonderful, wonderful people here. Open arms. I mean, I'm amazed at what I've met, the people that I met here, and then the attitude of the people that are here. You can now go to courageoushealers.org, go to the Ride Across America, click on ride registration. You can register to ride any leg of the ride that you would want. It's just strictly you're going to register. It's just basically a donation that you're giving me. It's an unsupported ride. But I would love to have you on the ride, just to have somebody to talk to, and so I'm not alone all the time. But also, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can also, if you want, you can order one of my recycling kits, bib and jersey, and you can also order a T-shirt on that ride registration link. Or you can just flat out donate to the Courageous Healers Foundation and the Ride Across America. Anything you can do for that, I greatly appreciate. If you're in the Palm Desert, Coachella Valley area, or if not, if you're just in Southern California, on April 22nd, I'd love to see you and have you participate in the Spaghetti Dinner fundraiser on April 22nd from 4 to 8 at the Trainer Connection. We have Papa Dan's local eatery is providing all the pasta, salad, and bread. I've got Diamonds of Splendor has donated some marvelous 0.80 total weight diamond-studded earring for silent auction. We got lots and lots and lots of raffle tickets, so we'd love to see you there at that. If you are interested, I'm still looking for sponsors, so if you're interested in sponsoring the ride at any level, let me know. I can use some more sponsors. I'm trying to get that all taken care of by April 16th, so I can get all the stuff into the proper people for logos on my truck and on my jerseys. So visit the website. There's a lot of good information on that. Also, ChangeYourLifeStoryNow.com, my life coaching website. I am accepting clients now. For you're just stuck in life and you can't get past a certain point in your life. I can help you get through that. Just check out the website. Shoot me an email. We can sit down and talk and see if it's a fit. I promise you, I can probably help you. And lastly, on that Change Your Life Story Now, I'm having my next workshop May 6th from 11 to 2. It's on forgiveness, a workshop on forgiveness. If you struggle with forgiveness, if you're holding on to resentments, you don't know what forgiveness is, you don't know what forgiveness isn't, this workshop will cover all that and give you a thorough understanding about forgiveness. It's not as complicated as people make it out to be. So for me, forgiveness has been the true key to my happiness and freedom in life now. But what I'll tell you is this, is that forgiveness is a process and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And forgiveness does not mean that the perpetrator will ever be allowed back in your life. And forgiveness does not mean what happened to you was okay. And forgiveness is for you only, not the perpetrator. All right, so everybody have a super blessed day. Eddie and I got a full day again today. I've got a meeting at 1. I got a radio interview tonight at 7, plus other things during the course of the day. Nobody tells you they love you today. Randy does, but more importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Bye.